salmon here.
Yeah, the wild salmon is so much better than the farm-raised salmon. The farm-raised salmon just has a lot of PCBs, which is a toxin that can build up in it. Also has less vitamin D and very little amounts of those omega-3s. There's a big taste difference too if you've tried it. Now that the weather's getting warmer, wild salmon comes more into season, so the price will go down. In different stores like BJ's and Costco, you can buy the frozen wild salmon for a little bit better price. It can be costly.
I learned today, I did my homework. I learned about king salmon today, more than I did. 3 types of king salmon. So years ago, by the way, king salmon season just opened up recently. It runs in the spring through June. Years ago, you could only buy king salmon. Okay, science lesson, induction burner, magnets, metal, going back and forth real quick, makes heat. Come on. No fire. Now, this will get hot, but you can pretty much touch that. Okay, so anyway, so the king salmon, years ago you can only buy king salmon. I was working in the city at a restaurant, and this guy came from Alaska and he hooked up with, and he would go out on Monday morning, catch his fish, Monday night make it back to the dock, send them out FedEx, and have wild king salmon from Alaska the next day. So there's real wild king salmon. King salmon is kind of like Levi jeans, it's Levi's king salmon, which I didn't realize until today. Also known as meet the Chinook salmon. Chinook salmon. Okay. So this king salmon, which is real wild king salmon, they find in Alaska, and they swim upstream and they go to spawn, and after they spawn, they die. And then there's, as I was explaining to you today, the salmon, the king salmon that they breed in captivity and then they let them out. And then they breed that they raise them until a certain age and then just throw them in the river. And, they hatch them in a hatchery and then they throw them out. So it's kind of king salmon. And there's a third kind which is big in a lot of New Zealand and a lot of Canadian king salmon. They're still better than Atlantic salmon, but they're raised in pens, just as they're not packed into the pens as tightly, but they are farm-raised king salmon. So if you go to a restaurant and you just see salmon on the menu, it's not king salmon. If someone's going to be serving king salmon, it's going to be labeled king salmon because they're going to get more money for it, right? But if they tell you it's king salmon, it could be this farm-raised king salmon, which is, let's say, $15.95 a pound, claiming it's to be wild king salmon, which is $28.95 a pound. How do you know? You got to trust the guy. There is definitely a taste difference, but the average layperson probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference if someone's trying to get one over on you. I don't know. But anyway, so there are 3 types of king salmon. And then there's I was having a conversation with my fish purveyor this morning about it, which I've done in the past. There is organic salmon, which the European community has a stricter guideline than the United States. So where they raise the salmons the same way that we raise the salmons here in actually North America, up in east side, or is that East Nova Scotia, right? Okay, over in that area. But they raise them in Europe in the same pens as they do that we raise them in, but they give them a certified organic feed. And I actually learned today that also that salmon eat crustacean, that's why they're orange, natural king salmon, and they're fed beta carotene, which gives them a nice orange color. I did not know that. Got one over on me today. Okay, so anyway, so this is hot. This isn't too hot, it's only hot from the pan. So we're going to do the quinoa. You want to talk about quinoa?
Sure. So a lot of people consider quinoa to be a grain. It's actually technically a seed. So people who are going on grain-free diets, it could be helpful. It's also naturally in them, and even black quinoa has iron in it. So that's really great. Black rice also has more iron in it as well, in case that's a nutrient that you're looking to incorporate.
Quinoa, the ones that bring in, they like third world countries.
It's naturally grown in Peru. It's native to Peru.
They're like feeding everyone with it because it's such high in protein and they have nothing else. Something like that. Yeah. Okay, so anyone rice pilaf? Has anyone made rice pilaf before? Has anyone not made rice pilaf? And the other people that didn't raise their hand, gotta raise their hand. Okay, anyway, rice pilaf is not the box that comes in the store and says rice pilaf, and it's got like 20 different grains in it. It's just basically rice that's cooked with a little bit of aromatics, and it's the style of cooking the rice. You do shallots and garlic, or onions and garlic, put the rice in, 2 times the amount of water to rice, 8 bay leaf, the French put in, a little butter, or olive oil. Olive oil? Okay. And then you basically cover the rice and you put it in the oven. The quinoa is made in the same style as that. It's basically excuse me, shallots and garlic that are minced, and then add the quinoa to it, stir it around a little, put a little olive oil in the pan just to coat the rice, and put the liquid in, bring it to a boil and cover it, and it takes like 15 minutes to cook. And I like to use, we used to do a lot of couscous in the restaurant. We switched to the quinoa because the quinoa can be served hot or cold, and it makes like a nice salad. In the restaurant, besides this dish, once in a while I'll do a special with diced grilled vegetables in it, some feta cheese or some halloumi cheese, and use that as an accompaniment to a dish. But so I'm going to mince a garlic and some shallots. So can you guys really see like the detailing? So if I cut myself, since the last time I did a demo, I did cut myself. Thank God somebody in the audience had a Band-Aid. Who's got the Band-Aid today? Okay. You have a butterfly in case I really go deep. Any doctors, nurses out there? Okay, so a shallot is like a little onion, has takes a cross between a. It would be really great if I did cut my finger. Shallot, little onion, little garlic taste. I'm going to use half, and once again, the recipe is there. Follow along. When you cut shallots and garlic, cut the 2 ends off, and then I cut it in half to peel it. There is a root end and a non-root end, and you want to cut the non-root end, and the root end will act as a glue that'll hold the whole thing together, so that it doesn't fall apart as you're cutting. Non-root end. So if I slice, can you see this? Because I was doing how to cut a shallot. You slice down first. Sharp knives. And then you come across. And then you can either do just a solid down motion, or you can drag the knife back. And you have lovely minced shallots. And you really can't. I'm sorry? Okay, so a little bit of oil. I use actually canola oil. If I want to use olive oil, I usually cut up a little canola oil, just because I want the health benefits of the olive oil, but I don't want everything to taste like olive oil. You know, it's like you ever cook pasta, you put a little oil on it so it doesn't stick together. Use olive oil, it just tastes like olive oil. So, is that me? Not yet. So I'll set my timer. I don't know. There was too much disruption before.
Another great oil you can try to use is sesame oil. What's great about sesame oil is you can use it over a high heat, and it also imparts a really nice flavor. I think this recipe would also be really great, maybe like with avocado, tahini, artichoke, all thrown in there. And artichokes you can buy frozen, already chopped, to make your life easy. If you're looking to go vegan or cut back on the eggs, I think the avocado would be a really nice substitute as well. And with this recipe, with the lemon Lemon is a great source of something we call limonene and hesperidins, which are polyphenols, which are very anti-inflammatory. And most of the benefits are actually in the zest or the peel of the orange, of the lemon. So when getting a lemon, wash it really well. If possible, to get an organic one, if you're going to zest it, that's probably your best bet. And you get the most benefit from just that top layer of skin. So a quick zest, and you're good. You get all the benefits you need.
Wrap. Okay, so I've, the shallots and the garlic have some oil in there, the shallots, the garlic, and I'm going to start around. I also put a pinch of salt in, and the reason I do that, I'm not necessarily seasoning or flavoring what I'm doing. I want to help draw out some of the moisture while the shallots and the garlic are cooking and help break them down.
Okay, is that cool?
I've got the quinoa,
Yes,
which is
okay,
going to
that's
go
good.
in. Has anyone not had quinoa before? Really? Good stuff, try it out. Good stuff. And just gonna mix that around to coat it. And then I'm gonna add water. Once again, you can use vegetable stock. You can use the stock from cooking those potatoes. So it was 1 part, I'm sorry, it was 1 part quinoa, 2 parts water. So 2 cups of quinoa I did to 1/4 of water. Vegetable stock, you can do, if you're doing like a shrimp dish and you have shrimp stock, you can throw some shrimp stock in there. Very nice. Chicken stock. We use a lot of vegetable stock at the restaurant to make the grain so that if somebody comes in, they're gluten-free or they're vegetarian, not necessarily gluten-free, but vegetarian. I make shrimp stock. Can't tell you that. Okay, so you get shrimp. You get shrimp from the fish guy, right? Or you buy them frozen. It doesn't matter. Don't let them peel them. Take them and put, as you eat a lot of shrimp or a good amount of shrimp. Take them and take the shells, peel them.